listen to that.
Hey crew, I've got the key to that 23 Cadillac Escalade V. We are going to take it for a drive, but first let's check out how it looks on the inside and outside. The distinguishing V traits up front include this black mesh grille around the Cadillac crest, black meshing for the large front air dam, high gloss black for this unique front splitter, and for the unique molding around the LED DRL. That's non-functional ventilation there, by the way. This one is painted in Argent Silver, freshly rained on. And I like this color, but not as much as Radiant Red. That's a super eye-catching color on the Escalade V. All V models get these 22-inch gunmetal gray painted wheels, wrapped up in Bridgestone Alenza all-season tires, 275 section front and rear. Within those wheels are red-painted Brembo brakes. 6 piston calipers are up front. You get V badges for the doors, high gloss black for the lower sills, accenting the mirror caps, window trim, and roof rails. Stepping back to look at the profile, is it me or is it crazy that those are 22-inch wheels? They almost look small on such a big SUV. I want to thank Jay Photoglue for letting me review his Escalade V. He's at Suburban Cadillac. If you want to get one of these, he could probably help you out. I'll put his contact info in the description. At the back, there's an extended roof spoiler. Still have your tall taillight bars. Unique diffuser in body color. 4 dark gray exhaust outlets. Look like they're pulled straight off the Corvette. And a V badge on the tailgate. The Escalade V isn't really shouty on the exterior about what it is, so you might confuse it for a standard Escalade until you hear it. Then you know something's going on. Do you like the exterior? Let me know in the comments. Let's check out the interior. Opening up, power running boards deploy, and looking inside. The V's interior is equivalent to a platinum trim, so you get semi-aniline leather seats with perforations and quilting. The second row of seats are heated. You get piping on the seats and here on the doors. Contrast stitching on the leather wrapping. Zebra wood trim is unique to the V model. Further down are harder plastics. There's a 36 speaker AKG sound system as standard. To get into the third row, pull this tab once, and again to pop the seat forward for a very wide access point, so you can just walk on back casually. I'll pull the seat back up so you can see it in the furthest forward position from the third row, and then this seat is in the furthest back position. I'll move behind this one. At 6 feet tall, I still have knee room, foot pockets. Of course, with the captain's chair setup, I can extend that leg, and my head does clear the roof, which is suede wrapped. There are lights, then you get upper air vents, a USB-C port on either end, padded armrest, and cup holders. Only thing missing from the third row would be potentially another sunroof to bring in some light. And if we're just asking for things, how about seat heating? To get out, pull this tab once and again. In the second row, pull this tab to slide the seat forward and backward. There's a leather-wrapped grab handle to ease your entry. Behind my own seat, again at 6 feet, I've got loads of legroom. The seat back's in leather. The whole console here is in leather. There are climate control settings when the car is on, along with your seat heat settings. Press that to reveal 2 cup holders. Down low are 2 HDMI ports and 2 USB-Cs, plus an AC outlet. No drive shaft hump here, so you can easily move between these seats. You get your own armrests. There is that big sunroof to bring in light. Upper air vents as well, and 2 16-inch displays. Yeah, second row's got it going on. Let's check out the front. Door close noise. Hey, very solid. Like that. Up front, we find heated and ventilated chairs, speakers built right into the headrests, lumbar adjustments, power controls, Escalade tread plates, aluminum accented foot pedals. Reach in and press this to open the tailgate. It also has a kick sensor. Inside, we find 26 cubic feet of space behind the third row. Use these power controls to send that row down, and these to send the second row down. Then you're looking at 109 cubic feet of space. There is a bit of extra storage underneath the floor. You can power raise the third row with those buttons. You cannot power raise the second row though. You've got to do that manually. AC outlet right there. Power close, not power close and lock feature on the tailgate. Would like to see that. 2-position memory for the front seats, power adjusting and power folding door mirrors. Only the front 2 windows are one touch up, down. Also, no grab handle here to get into the front seats. We'll put the truck in accessory mode for a pretty sweet animation on the full 38 inches of screen real estate. It's a curved OLED display broken up with this screen, this one off to the side, and then the infotainment system with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. This system itself is quick responding and intuitive. Below the screen, gloss zebra wood trim. Above it, stitched leather. Head-up display, heated leather-wrapped steering wheel, the diameter of which is not that big for this big of a vehicle, and the thickness is perfect in the hands. Aluminum paddles on the back of the wheel, some zebra wood trim here to match that on the console. Press this down to find 2 cup holders, a USB-A and C port. Leather wrapping here around your creaking gear selector. That doesn't feel good. The volume knob and infotainment dial also feel kind of cheap. Slot here to charge your smartphone wirelessly. Leather wrapping on the console. Underneath we find an optional refrigerator. USB-A and C port there. Up top are controls to power raise and lower the third row seats and for your sunroof. Visibility is fairly compromised with those headrests up and that very thick C-pillar. You can fold the headrest down, and we've got a digital rear view mirror. Blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic are also standard. The cabin is luxurious. The tech is solid. It's not quite as sumptuous as a Range Rover, but the space more than makes up for it for me. Let's take the Escalade V out for a drive. All right, let's fire it up. Okay, it sounds good inside the truck, but I have to play you a clip of remote start from outside of it because it's sinister. Such a vicious startup. It sounds better than my Cadillac CT5V Blackwing that's coming, and I don't know how that's possible because it's the same engine. They just made an exhaust system that's more ferocious in this truck. The drive modes are selected here off to the left, and then you've got your V mode button here in front of the gear selector. We'll begin in the tour mode, but I'll show you my mode because only in my mode is there the calibration for the engine sound available as stealth, so you can kind of, as much as possible, glide out of your neighborhood without disturbing your neighbors. We'll begin in tour though. Click in and up on the gear selector to bring up a myriad of different camera angles, all high resolution. We've got trajectory lines, the bird's eye view, wide angles front and rear. If you're towing, that one's useful. See your wheels, get the 3D projection and move around the whole SUV, all that good stuff. Got the digital rearview mirror going for us. Click in and down to go into drive. We'll begin with a turning radius test. Cranked. Very good. For such a big SUV, that is a remarkably good turning radius. Turn signal sound. The horse at a gallop. Click, 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 click. Not my favorite turn signal sound. World famous horn test. Loud and proud. Much like this engine, which is a 6.2 liter supercharged V8 that makes 682 horsepower and 653 pound-feet of torque. All that power is routed through a 10-speed automatic gearbox to a part-time four-wheel drive system. Here in tour mode, we've got it in the rear drive configuration. The big power is accessed smoothly through that automatic. Gear changes are imperceptible. Throttle response is gentle. There's an adaptive damper setup, magnetic ride control with air springs as standard. The ride is rather composed and comfortable given the ladder frame chassis. The thicker sidewalls, even on those 22-inch wheels, do help. I'm reminded of the 23-inch wheels with the skinny sidewalls of the Land Rover Range Rover I was driving recently, and that had sharper impacts. This one is a bit smoother over those imperfections, but you still feel the road blemishes come through the solid axles. Even in Tour, the engine note is mild, but let's go on over to my mode to see what stealth exhaust sounds like. You can almost get away with it. People may not know. You have almost 700 horsepower. But I want to know. So let's see a real-world 0 to 60 test in the Escalade V. The Escalade V is equipped with a launch control system that's very easy to activate. Just hit the V button in front of the gear select. That should be here on the wheel. Why isn't it here? That'd be easier access. Then just hold your foot hard on the brake while pinning the throttle. Then lift your foot off the brake and fire out of the hole. So here goes. Gosh. Listen to that. Okay, 0 to 60, 4.8 seconds. I emphasize real world once again because that was not a prime surface. The road wasn't perfectly flat. Cadillac says the Escalade V will get to 60 in 4.5 seconds. Independent tests have seen even quicker, 4.3. I don't even care about that because listen to this. This isn't even the first time I've driven the Escalade V. You'd think I'd be a little more used to that, but it just doesn't get old. It's hilarious every single time. And the upshifts, in my first drive, I sort of compared it to a fireworks display, but this time I'm hearing more like the crack of a rifle. Oh my gosh. That is majestic. In its primeval, like, holy cow. I can't stop howling. I mean, because the truck won't stop howling. That's unreal. And I mean, it does thoroughly get moving. Both out of the hole and then the mid-range are tenacious. You also have manual mode. Pull back one more time. I forgot this. Tell me you heard that. The overrun is absurd. It doesn't stop. Someone had fun with this exhaust, and that someone may have been a 10-year-old. Because this acoustic profile is like the perfect cross-section of a fart joke and a fireworks display. That's where I was hearing that fireworks display. It's on the overrun. And yet that's only one of the great parts of manual mode, because there are also ferociously quick shifts. More up than down. Bit of hesitation on the down. But it's so satisfying. How do you not fall in love with this? How? Adults and kids, everyone is welcome to enjoy the Escalade V. Next, we've got to see how well 6,200 pounds comes to a stop from around 60. Oh, that braking was mighty fine. Full ABS, yes, there was nosedive, but there was also stability. The stopping distance was pretty darn short, and there was great initial bite as well. The pedal never gave up. Oh, okay, Brembos. Keep that in mind. They're up to snuff here. A handling test is up next. Dab on those brakes, turn in quick, get on the... Oh. That was unfortunate. The vehicle thought we were going to get into a collision. Perhaps loss of traction. There's no way to turn off traction control. So it just killed the throttle. Like, just done. Foot was all the way to the floor. That's really unfortunate because there's a limited slip rear differential that would be able to get the power down in theory, but I wasn't even given the option because it robbed us of the power. Okay. Now, having driven the Escalade V in the first drive on a twistier road, I can say that it handles pretty darn well. The magnetic ride control holds the body pretty well in check. The steering is not even dead. It has some feedback to it, which is odd in a full-size body-on-frame SUV, but it's there. So the handling can be good up to a certain point, apparently. Do not take corners that aggressively. Okay, well, out of V mode, let's go into my mode for the stealthiest of exhaust and engage the adaptive cruise control with steering assistance system, lane keep assist rather. Super Cruise is available in the Escalade V. It would be the light bar up here and would be a hands-free system if you're on one of the mapped highways for it. We don't have that, so it's just adaptive cruise. You can see if it holds us in the lane. After going over the markings, it does bring us back. It doesn't ping-pong us, that's nice. Cruising on the highway. Despite its unaerodynamic shape, the Escalade V is well insulated, so the cabin is quiet. You can easily carry on a conversation with your passengers, at least in the first two rows. In the third row, you're going to have to shout a bit. Actually, no. There's this system with the AKG reference sound system that will carry your voice all the way to the third row. So you don't need to shout. Just hit the ear icon on the steering wheel. At this point in time, I think we can move on to the word of the day for the Escalade V. And that word is going to be gratuitous, meaning lacking of good reason. And that's fitting for the Escalade V because there's no good reason, there's no practical need for a 682 horsepower supercharged V8 family 3-row luxury full-size SUV. It just doesn't make sense. And yet it's here and it sounds absurd and it goes like stink. And if you don't inhibit or get into the traction control issues, it can handle pretty darn well and it brakes excellently. So gratuitous. That's the Escalade V for me. Now let's get into pricing and competition. The starting price for the Escalade V is a whopping $152,000 for the standard wheelbase version. You can also get the extended wheelbase version, which is even more ridiculous that you can get this motor in that vehicle. And that's just about double what your base Escalade costs. Now, to be fair, the Escalade V does come with, as I said, a lot of the luxuries that you would add into higher trim versions of the Escalade, but 152 grand, you're paying for mostly the performance goods. And the starting price isn't the only thing that's going to get you, because the Escalade V's fuel economy is horrendous. So you'll be visiting the fuel station all the time and pay like $150 every time to fill it up. 11 mpg in the city, 16 on the highway, 13 combined. That's what you're looking at with this truck. That's worse than all the other vehicles I'm about to mention. And when I say competitors, nothing's a perfect match for the Escalade V, because there are no other full-size, 3-row, luxury performance SUVs. There are vehicles that are luxury full-size SUVs, and there are vehicles that are performance 3-rows, but this is the only one that's kind of everything at once. You're still going to have to cross-shop something, so I'll give you first the luxury full-size SUVs. We've got the Jeep Grand Wagoneer that starts at just under $90,000. It makes 471 horsepower. It gets to 60 in 5.4 seconds. Then we've got the Lincoln Navigator. That one starts at $76,000. It makes 440 horsepower and gets to 60 in 5.2 seconds. Now we'll move on to 3-row performance SUVs, luxury SUVs. We've got the Mercedes-AMG GLS 63. That one is $136,000 to start. It makes 603 horsepower and gets to 60 in 3.6 seconds. We've got the Land Rover Range Rover P530. I drove that very recently. It starts at $125,000. It makes 523 horsepower. It gets to 60 in 4.9 seconds. And finally, we've got the Alpina XB7 that was refreshed for 23 with 630 horsepower. It starts at $142,000. That's a DBS Superleggera in a nice shade of green. And it gets to 60 in 3.9 seconds. Now, before I choose a victor here, I've got to show you at least one of the views on the gauge cluster apart from this one. It's the augmented reality camera. So you can watch in crystal clear resolution the road ahead, not through the windshield, but on your gauge cluster. Hopefully this doesn't distract you. There's also night vision, which would be very useful if you live in a place where deer are crossing, because you'll see the thermal signature of the animals before they jump out in front of you. And now I've got to decide. Choosing an option is not easy because each of the vehicles I mentioned do have redeemable qualities. I think I'm probably between the new Range Rover and the Escalade V. The Range Rover is more of a manicured appearance. It's more posh. The interior is nicer. The ride quality is about the same as this. The Escalade V, though, is like the ultimate beastly expression of American luxury. Its power, its authority. It sounds like a 10-year-old designed the exhaust. It's just awesome. It is just awesome. And it's a very much last hurrah before Cadillac and so much of this industry goes all electric. It's a thoroughly unique expression of internal combustion that I've fallen for. I hope you guys have enjoyed this POV drive review. If you did, please like, comment, and share the video. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell to get notified. And I'll see you next time.